you want to get into contact with the masters of wisdom, the real devotion is only through service, unselfish service to humanity, not to the master. Yes. We need not do any service to the master. He doesn't require any service from us. He requires our service to humanity, suffering humanity. Unselfish service, impersonal service. Then automatically they will contact us. That is the truth. Yeah. Yes. Yes. Oh, yes. No. Very clear. Yes. So completely we must be freed from emotional devotion. Emotion should be zero. And our devotion should be expressed only through service to his. Yes. Not to the master himself. Master, they don't require our service for them. If you find any master who is receiving personal service from the disciple, that itself shows he is not a master at all. Because a person who cannot perform his own personal requirements cannot be a master. Simple. Yeah. When I can tell you, when I was young, since my childhood, first I was with my grandfather. And my grandfather was the first he was given first training. He used to tell me that in the daily life, why you should wake up so early. For this he has given an explanation. He said, you should wake up early, make your physical exercises and your practices and all these, but you have to complete this and be ready by the time of sunrise. What for? If you cannot complete your work before you have to help others, how can you help others? He said. If you are in a position to be helped by others, what can you do to others? He said. He said, if you want to be in spiritual path, be sure physically you must be able to complete your work before sunrise, and then be ready to help others. Then you can have time to help others. That is what he from childhood used to tell. So the Master further says, the books that I have written are sent out with no claim for their acceptance. He said, no claim for acceptance. If anybody accepts or not, for that, not for recognition. Not a question, he said. They may or may not be correct. He is telling the books he has written, about the books he has written, he said, they may or may not be correct. They may or may not be correct, true and useful. It is for you to ascertain, for the reader, about their truth by right practice. So whether it is correct or not, only by practice only you can know. Without practice, if you read all these things as concepts, as useless as anything, is of no use. Neither I nor Alice Bailey is the least interested in having them acclaimed as inspired writings. Because nowadays you find so many people claiming that inspired writings they made, channels and inspired writings and all this. He says, or having anyone speak of them as being the work of one of the masters. If the books present the truth in such a way that it follows subsequently upon the already offered in the world teachings, if the information given raises the aspiration and the will to serve in the plane of from the plane of emotion to that of the mind, then they will have served their purpose. If the teaching conveyed calls forth a response from the illumined mind of the worker in the world and brings a flashing forth of his intuition, then let that teaching be accepted. But not otherwise. If the statements meet with eventual corroboration or are deemed true under the test of the law of correspondences, then that is well and good. But should this not to be so, let not the student accept what is said in the book. So, you cannot find any such statement from the so-called inspired writings. Here, it's complete non-attachment. Absolutely clear. In every book of Alice Bailey, Tibetan Masters, this statement you find in front. Yes. Yes. Such books, this book are books of Master E.K. These books, in all the years, what I can say from my experience is, unless it is put into practice, even for many years, hundreds of times also you read, there is no much. That is the thing. Yeah, it is not a question of like or dislike. What is given in the book, if you can put into practice, start putting into practice, then you can. It will reveal you more and more. That is what my experience. Yeah. Yes. Same thing with Bhagavad Gita also. Otherwise, you will only know the superficial meaning, nothing more than that. Yeah.
Can speak great words.
Yes.
They have to be practiced.
Yes. That is why Patanjali in the very first aphorism itself, first starting itself, he says, this is not a discourse, this is only practical instruction on yoga.
It says also you have not to expect knowledge.
Yes.
You should practice it.
That's all.
Even if you do not understand it.
Yes.
You should
Practice it.
But through the practice you will understand.
Yes. That is the Yes. Yes. without trying to put into practice, if you want to first to analyze, you can't. Analysis is not used here. In these type of teachings and these types of book, it is not through analysis, because it is given from a synthetic manner and most practical, so it is to be practiced, no otherwise. When you practice what little is first understood, you practice, then the next step is clear to you. Yes, lessons on the Yoga of Patanjali. What Master has given, yes. Very practical. It is the lessons on the Yoga of Patanjali. Yes. Lessons on the Yoga of Patanjali, that is most practically and very simply it is given. Generally what happens is, generally most of the people, they want to make it fast. In this, that is also Master Jalkul said, make haste slowly. Yeah. Make haste slowly. Yeah. You see, every day we only read few lines. How many years it takes the book? How many repetitions? He is explaining. Yes, first he used and then. Yes. It would be of value to you here if I made clear that one of the first things a student has to remember is that for the majority of human beings, for the huge majority, the influences and impulses which emanate from astral plane are a predisposing factor in all matters with which the individual concerns himself. The influences and impulses which emanate from the astral plane, they are a predisposing factor in all matters with which the individual concerns himself, all matters in life. Apart from those conditions which are for him unavoidable. Some conditions are unavoidable. Except these unavoidable conditions, for all other things, this is the predisposing factor. What is the predisposing factor? Influences, impulses which emanate from astral plane. Yes. Likes and dislikes. Come above this. Because like and dislike is a big obstacle. Sometimes we may not like which is good for us, because it is not so palatable, it is not so comfortable. Yes, discipline. It is not so comfortable. Say for example, in the beginning, when we say we must be ready and we must be ready for prayer 6 in the evening, 6 in the morning, in the beginning it will be very hard and not so comfortable. Why at 6? Some people ask. Why at 6? Why not at 7? Why not at 8? Oh, you can have any time. First, if we follow without questioning, because it is given by Master, if we have a trust in the Master and follow for some time, then we will realize. Without following from the beginning itself, if you ask why, then we are not fit for the path.
Masters, they also the instructions.
Yes.
They are for us
Yes. The astral plane is the center of dynamic emanating force, which is fundamentally conditioning. That is the problem. The astral force, the astral plane is the center of dynamic emanating force, very dynamic. You see, here I must explain a little bit. The astral body, the astral existence is much powerful and stronger than the physical. When you read the story of these demons in Puranas, how mighty they are, so much of power. They are the astral beings. That is why they have such a power. So they cannot be easily destroyed by those who are just on the physical. That is, this we have to understand. Their power is astral power. So astral plane, our astral body is much powerful and stronger.
every war is about this space. Every war.
Yeah, yes.
Just destroys the forms.
This destroys the forms. No, not that. That is another type of division given to you. The Bhu, who is the physical existence, Vasuloka, that is called Bhu, where you have the mundane world, the physical. But this is also due to the work of Devas. And Bhuvaha is the plane of Rudras, that is vibration, plane of vibrations. And Swaha is the plane of radiation. So that is another division. The physical existence, material aspect, material aspect is called Vasu Loka. Vasu means Vastavyata. Vastavyata means the place where we can stand. So the concrete existence is called Vasuloka. And this is a precipitation of the higher. So that means matter, force and consciousness. Matter is, Bhu is matter, Bhuvaha is force, Swaha is the consciousness. So the astral force, the astral plane, because the physical structure, as I told you in the example of a tent, the shape of the physical body and its existence is dependent upon the arrangement on the astral plane. So, the astral plane is a center of dynamic emanating force. But this is fundamentally conditioning in its effect because of the stage of the individual consciousness at which the majority finds itself. So conditioning is a quality on the astral level. So, but that is necessary. Without astral energy, we can't have our existence on the physical. But this astral, it is fundamentally conditioning in its effect. Men are swayed by the impulse of desire of a high or low caliber due to this conditioning. It is all astral activity. Desire of a high or low caliber. This desire, the desire is the result of this conditioning. This is of course a broad generalization, for that basic condition is becoming steadily modified by impulses coming from the mental plane. The impulses come from the mental plane into the astral plane. And due to the impulses, there will be from time to time modifications that happen on the astral plane. From mental plane to the astral. To the astral. Yeah. This necessarily complicates the problem. Influences emanating from the soul are also becoming appreciably present and still further complicate the problem of the advanced human being. No, it is coming an impulse, mostly coming from mental, sometimes from the soul also. That is what also he is telling. When it is coming from the soul, it comes from the higher plane to the lower plane. Astral is the lower plane. So these impulses always come from the higher plane to the lower plane. Because mental plane is the immediate higher plane to the astral, so most of the impulses are from the mental plane. Even in homeopathy also.
For the human being.
For the human being, yes, that we have to remember. For the human being. All this is about human being, not about other beings. In homeopathy also, the vital plane, the vital body is influenced by what is coming from the mental. Therefore, the negative force, which is called miasm, is acting from the mental plane, from the mind to the vital force. So, just the same in homeopathic terms. Almost, astral plane means it is energy, and this energy, the pattern of the energy which is arranged is called vital plane. So, it is subtle, very subtle.
It is a very strong partnership between the forces.
Yes, astral forces. Influences emanating from the soul are also becoming appreciably present and still further complicate the problem of advanced human being. What is this problem of complication? That is also explained here. This problem of complication constitutes a hard saying for the student to understand in relation to his own physical condition or to that of anyone whom he may be seeking for help. So for the physical conditions. So this problem of complication, what is explained, what is mentioned here, is now being explained. Why there is complication? I should like here, in this connection, to give you the third of the laws which govern the sacred art of healing. What is this? This he is, once again he is giving. This law I will write down, this is important. When you know this, then you can know this more clearly. Because these books are to be studied in the same order, then we get a question, then we get an answer. When we read something, we get a question, oh, what it is. And then when you just go further, then you get a solution. These books are like that. Practice. Of course, I know some of you have these books and also in your tablets. But while we are studying, if we won't mention the law, afterwards we will not open the book. I know this.